of the death spiral. Every failed state, go back as far as you want to go, or nation, does the same exact thing. They merger corporations with the government. They vastly inflate the debt. They artificially suppress rates. They kill the currency, and then the nation falls. Anyone who can't see that we are being destroyed from the inside is willfully blind and has no clue as to what's really going on. It's a shame.
This is Kaiser Johnson with Liberty and Finance, and these are the Miles Franklin Weekly Specials for August 25th through September 1st, 2025, while supplies last. First this week, 1 ounce gold Britannia are just $60 over spot per ounce. Next, 1/10 ounce gold Canadian maples are only $35 over melt per coin. 1 ounce silver maples are just $2.89 over spot. And 1 ounce silver kangaroos are only $2.79 over spot per ounce. And with a 250 ounce monster box, they're the lowest priced monster box available. To order our specials or any of the many other options we have available, call us at 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237. We're available after hours and on weekends, and we look forward to speaking with you.
Hey everyone, this is Elijah K. Johnson with Liberty and Finance. And back with us today is our good friend Gregory Mannarino from traderschoice.net. Greg, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great to be here. Great to see you after like 1,000 years. So I've been looking forward to this.
Well, it's great to talk to you. Yeah, my dad Dunnigan has mainly been the one interviewing you. It's been, definitely years since we've talked, so it's great to catch up here. I did want to discuss your kind of broad overview of the financial system right now, but more specifically, we heard some interesting comments from Powell last week at the Jackson Hole meeting. Now, leading up to this, there were other central bankers, really a lot of people being concerned about the politicization of the Federal Reserve, as Trump has been making a lot of comments here. And now we're seeing Powell possibly caving, who knows, but what a lot of the betting markets are suggesting based on Powell's comments, rate cuts could be coming as soon as September. And then also just yesterday, we're recording this on August 26th, but just yesterday, Trump announced that he's firing one of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve. So again, a lot of political it seems like potentially political influence in the Federal Reserve. Your perspective on that and how markets have been reacting?
Markets have been reacting as you would expect in an environment where nothing matters anymore except for vast debt expansion on a planetary scale, artificially suppressed rates as far as the eye can see, and we haven't seen anything yet. Currency devaluation, again, on an epic scale. The last thing on this earth that the U.S. economy needs right now is a weaker dollar where people can't survive in this environment. Durable goods orders come in today, again, lower. People can't find jobs that are paying anything, and the ones that are paying here, real wages are being dissolved by currency purchasing power losses. Well, the situation is extreme. Meaning what's happening is just too freaking in our face. The world doesn't want our debt. The world doesn't want our dollar. The United States economy is in collapse. We're being destroyed from within. They got exactly the perfect guy in there to do it. When he keeps referring to we need a weaker dollar. Who? Do you need a weaker dollar? Do I need a weaker dollar? No. Do I want my purchasing power evaporated? He's talking to the 1% and 2%ers. We need lower rates. Who's we? Again, the 1% and 2%ers who benefit from the Cantillon effect. Artificially suppressed rates, vast debt expansion, and again, they throw things in our face like this big, beautiful bill, adding $4.1 trillion to the debt here. Look, we're being dissolved. The stock market is completely disconnected from reality. We've never seen distortions like this in the history of the world, but the market's counting on more easy money. The more debt expansion we get, the more artificially suppressed rates are, the weaker the currency gets, potentially the higher the stock market could go. They're disconnected from reality. We've never seen this before. It's on a planetary scale. People can't make it. That's, again, the faster they can push the economy through the crust of the earth, the higher the market potentially it could go. And the bubbles and the asset distortions here could get much worse moving forward. I urge people, when you hear a sitting president calling for a weaker dollar, you have to realize that that person is not working for the American people. The last thing we need is a weaker dollar or artificially suppressed rates. If people want to take 2 seconds and verify what I'm going to say is true. Maybe they should do that. The most prosperous times for this nation, in fact, any nation living under the rulership of a central bank, is not when the currency purchasing power is being destroyed on the back of artificially suppressed rates. It is when rates are much higher and the currency has more purchasing power. Our industrial engine here in the United States is being systematically and deliberately wiped out. Consumers can't consume. Why? The currency is being dissolved with regard to purchasing power, so consumers don't consume. Our factories won't produce. This is deliberate as well. And now we're seeing a merger between, the government here. Trump just announced his great deal with Intel, 10% stake in Intel, and now moving forward to defense. This is going to, the merger here of the system into a state-controlled corporate entity is really in our face. We're losing our freedoms. We are losing our liberties. People willingly are surrendering them in this environment here. The whole charade with the Federal Reserve, come on. What's the Fed doing right now? They're buying it all. They're the lender and buyer of last resort. Again, no one wants our debt. No one wants our dollar. Not even you. Not even me. American citizens don't want our dollars because they're being dissolved. Artificially suppressed rates, who does that help? That helps these corporations who buy back shares of their own debt or their own stock, buy back shares of their own companies here to prop up they can refinance their debt, of course, at a lower rate, is what I meant to say. But what they're going to do with this new injection of capital via the mechanism of artificially suppressed rates is what they've been doing. Prop up the stock market again, enriching themselves, the 1% and 2%ers. How do the fat cats at these corporations make their cash? Well, year-end stock price. We all know that. You can expect artificially suppressed rates to be taken advantage of by these corporations who are going to do exactly what we said, refinance their own debt at a lower rate here, and of course buy back shares of their own stock, propping up the market. This is at the cost of what? The economy itself, U.S. small businesses. The corporate agenda is being fulfilled. We've never been here before. This is the worst possible situation we could walk into. Now, with this game that the Fed is playing with President Trump, look, man, the Fed is in here buying all the debt, and now they have the U.S. Treasury issuing debt and then buying back their own debt with the main line to the Federal Reserve. It's a game. The Fed they're already in full-blown yield curve control. President Trump, where does he get the cash to buy a 10% stake in Intel or Lockheed Martin or anything else? He's got to get on the phone with Powell, his closest friend right now, and say, hey, listen, dude, we really duped all these people, the red hats, and they really have no clue as to what's going on. Let's take advantage of it even more because they're all useful freaking idiots. So let's just inflate the debt. Look, we're in a death spiral. Every failed state, go back as far as you want to go, or nation does the same exact thing. They merger corporations with the government. They vastly inflate the debt. They artificially suppress rates. They kill the currency, and then the nation falls. Anyone who can't see that we are being destroyed from the inside is willfully blind and has no clue as to what's really going on. It's a shame.
And you mentioned Trump's stake in Intel now through the U.S. government. That's really interesting, and it maybe ties into what you were talking with Dunnigan last time about the tokenization of everything. Do you want to give us an update on that and kind of how you see that impacting personal freedom and the financial system?
It's an incredible thing. And people are sitting back doing nothing. President Trump just signed into law this Genius Act, which is going to allow a privatization of the monetary system. In other words, Apple coin, BlackRock coin, Walmart token. This is how it starts. The bait and switch here, you got to hand it to President Trump. You really, really do. This is how he feels about the people that follow him. It's in actions, not in words. Okay, actions. What did he do? He signs an executive order, no central bank digital currency, and his people cheered for that. So what does he do? He finds a workaround, privatize the financial system using tokens, stablecoin tokens, okay? They have a different book than we follow, bro, okay? You and I follow this book. This is our book. All right, our book dictates that their book dictates that they have to tell you what they're going to do first. President Trump calling himself a stable genius. We got Stablecoins Genius Act. Even if they talk in code, this is a complete workaround with regard to a central bank digital currency. These stablecoin tokens, completely unconstitutional, now signed into law again, Genius Act. So with this, which is going to happen here, and the Fed is now overseeing it, privatized Yes, which means we're going to wish we had a central bank digital currency, because at least in theory, we would have some oversight. But by privatizing it, by President Trump pulling this bait and switch here, it's an incredible thing. I mean, it really is. It's probably one of the greatest financial deceptions in the history of finance, honestly. Finding this workaround here, privatize the system, stablecoin tokens here, just a bridge to full tokenization. Everybody knows this coming. Everybody knows this coming now, but where's the pushback? Hopefully people listening to this interview we're doing here, and they're going to get something out of it. At least I hope so. But some people are just so dumbed down at this point. They have no idea what's going on. They can't survive. They're being forced to again participate in a system that's maliciously designed to destroy them from the inside. But again, imagine this, a completely unconstitutional system where private corporations are going to issue their own tokens. And this is not currency. It is certainly not money. But that's the first step to full tokenization. Then comes the merger between these same corporations who are going to be allowed to issue their own tokens here with government. Anyone who can't see what's going on here, I have to say this, Elijah, is literally willfully blind. And what are they doing? Nothing. Most people are sitting back still thinking that, things are going to change. This can't possibly be happening, but it is. Right before their eyes. The truth is always hidden in plain sight. It's what I've been trying to tell people for 1,000 years. So if people don't start to take action against what they're seeing, I don't care if they're wearing a red hat, a green hat, a pink hat, a white hat, they're completely lost. We need to push back against what we're seeing here, because we are literally being destroyed from within.
It is interesting, even if you go back to how fiat currency systems come about, right? There's this kind of incremental change where people might not notice it. At first they come out with gold and silver as currency, right? And then, you put it in this bank and get paper notes. And then over time, the reserve ratio, right? How much, how many coins are actually backing the paper? You only need, in the US, it was, 40% or so. And then you have, 1933, FDR just confiscate the gold and say it's illegal for Americans to own gold coins and gold bullion. I mean, how crazy is that? And ever since then, 98% of the value of the dollar has been stripped away from people who are holding it. So it's this incremental change. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at as well with this tokenization, private corporations. It's starting kind of as a privatization of the economy, but then you're thinking it's going to flip suddenly to kind of a corporate or a federal ownership of different corporations?
Well, I think it's more of a merger to fulfill the corporate agenda. What's happening to U.S. small businesses here? They can't make it here. They're being forced to deal with higher input costs across the board. They're crushing it. They're crushing small business. They're crushing the economy. They're crushing the middle class here as a mechanism of control. Now, think about what you just said. So the U.S. dollar has lost, 96, 98% of its purchasing power. So we now have a sitting president saying, hold on a minute. Let me take another 1% away, leave you with now 1% of the original purchasing power of the dollar. And that's going to make the world jump for joy for our products. Anyone who bought that had to be like smoking a crack pipe that reaches from here to Shanghai. I mean, I can't believe anyone believed that at all who has even the slightest understanding in the most remote sense of economics and finance. It's unreal. This situation is just literally unbelievable. So the bridge system here, obviously the stablecoin token here, moving to full tokenization of assets. What they're going to do is pretty obvious. The next steps are this. We're going to be told that cash is unreliable. A lot of crime is being utilizing cash. So we have to make it safer via using this token here. Everything is trackable, traceable. They're gonna convince people that this is what we need to do. But all it is, I mean, cash keeps you free and keeps you sovereign. They can't have that. The system must be consolidated. Power must be consolidated. We're moving to an extreme version of control, especially with this yet to be defined merger between corporations. I mean, this is just beginning. Intel, defense stocks, it's going to be across the board, obviously, moving forward. To anyone that can see that is also blind, willfully. But again, you have to also think about where's the cash come from. We don't have it. We're broke. It's got to all come from the Federal Reserve right now. And they're playing the game that is being played on the charade, the clown show that is being played on the American people is an incredible thing. But what's more incredible than the show is the fact that there's no pushback. People aren't doing anything about it. They're not taking to the streets. I'm doing everything I possibly can, as you are, to try to let people understand what's going on, what they need to do. What does it all mean for people? I mean, the bottom line is, look, man, prepare for where we're going. No one is ready for this, and I mean no one. And it's happening almost at a blitzkrieg pace. We're seeing salvo after salvo after salvo of the look. I mean, just look at some of these headlines today. This is today. Durable goods orders falling off of a cliff. U.S. consumer tapped out. Home prices here falling here. You got extraordinary weak demand over here. Trump Pentagon now weighing again, buying more companies. You can't make this stuff up. We just found out that the labor market weakest since 2021 and weakening further. This is not a policy mistake. This is not a policy accident. No comedy of errors got us here. What we are seeing is exactly what people like me and you, I would hope, haven't seen you in a while, so I don't know what you've been saying. I've been trying to warn people about. This is not going to stop. This is going to be deliberately exacerbated. What they want is people on their knees begging for a new system, and they're going to get it as people willingly, not you and me, and certainly not the people that are listening to your work here, surrender to the system. The system has become some kind of devilism mechanism. This is not for the people, of the people, by the people at all. The system has been taken over by a very dark force. And there's really no other way to look at it. And anyone here that's holding on even a shred of hope that this is going to change because the guy they chose to sit behind the Resolute, this can possibly be malaligned with something that isn't holy, and maybe they should look within and listen to what their body and their alliance here with the source says.
It is interesting because a lot of people were concerned about central bank digital currency, but what you're saying is kind of the government is moving towards that kind of in a backdoor way while people don't understand what's going on. So if people are interested in really taking action to protect themselves against this and actually maybe prevent this from happening, what are some steps that would be helpful in your mind?
Well, number one is share this work, get it out there, try to educate yourself on what's actually going on, speak out against it, go on fake social. He calls it truth social. It's always a deception. We've been warned about those kinds of deceptions. It's all a lie. Where the lies come from, I think we all know that. It's pretty freaking straightforward here. The system is coming apart. We need to unify. We need to establish alliances with each other. We need to bet against the system, as we've been talking about for 1,000 years, you and me. Holding hard assets, physical silver remains my favorite asset of all time. We also need to take advantage of things across the board, that opportunities that come our way. People need to step out of the current financial system. I've been warning about this. Get your cash out of commercial banks. I would say credit unions are safer, not safer. They have no derivative exposure. The mechanism here of vast debt expansion and the associated derivatives with it. See, they just tell us the headline numbers. What people don't understand is every single Wall Street bet on one side or the other has multiple on either end derivative exposure. The system is so out of control right now, and the mechanism behind it. Look, what's going to end up happening here is very, very obvious. They need an event to occur that's going to force people, and then all the pawns are already set up. President Trump signed the Genius Act into law. They got stable coins there. They got to kill the dollar. When you're a sitting president calling for a weaker dollar, it doesn't help the American people at all, and it's certainly not going to cause the world to jump for joy for American products because of the exchange rate. This is a lie, and I can't believe people actually bought it, but they did. Okay, so people need to move forward. People need to realize that they've been duped, that they've been lied to, and they need to take action. Again, financially, it's very simple. I think the strategy is the same, betting against the system, becoming our own central bank, looking for other opportunities in the financial system. If you're able to use the market as a mechanism here as well, and convert those profits into hard assets here. This is a dream come true for the we, that is the people that Trump is talking to here. The government getting involved, buying companies, artificially suppressed rates, weaker currency, vast debt expansion has the potential again to push the stock market much higher until it stops. It's not going to stop until the moment of their choosing. Now we got artificially suppressed rates, Fed in here buying it all. We got the Treasury buying back their own debt. Soon, again, we're going to see, no doubt about it. The Fed doesn't even really need to lower rates at this point. But again, people want more easy money. The market wants more easy money. So again, the corporations can buy back shares of their own stock, pump up that share price, refinance their debt at a lower price as well. This is what they're looking for. This is why it doesn't matter. The disconnect between the economy is going to continue again until it doesn't. So that's how I see it moving forward. But people need to understand that they got to be ready for a worst case scenario, because that's what we're being pushed. And again, it goes way beyond the financial. We gotta come together. We gotta find like-minded people. We gotta be willing to fight against the system. Unfortunately, it's a battle that is going to be very difficult. So people need to look out for themselves, their families, and their communities. Because again, the vast majority of the people have been lulled into some other thing. It's very difficult to get my head around it. I can't see why people aren't fighting back, talking about it, at least saying, no, this can't. You don't see it anywhere. The mainstream media is completely controlled, obviously. You can't even report bad numbers anymore. And all the numbers they're getting was all the data that I just showed you. It's abysmal. And imagine what the real numbers are if this is the data they're letting us know. So, this is the collapse of an empire, and it's not collapsing by accident. This is all deliberate, and we're being pushed further in that direction for the 1% and 2% that Trump is talking to are pillaging this nation, whatever's left of it. They have the golden parachutes, and they don't care what happens to the society, to the middle class, to the former middle class, being pushed down to the lower rung of society, something I warned would happen from over a decade ago. And that's where we're going, is we're being squashed like bugs, and they're sucking the life right out of us, people's hopes, dreams, everything moving forward. It's a very, very difficult environment for people. And I really feel for the younger generation. They're being duped as well, lied to as well. And what else did you expect in a completely upside down environment where the people don't matter anymore? It's the it's the 1% and 2% that Trump is talking to, and Vance as well. How a weaker currency is going to help us, how the artificial suppressed race is going to help us, as it won't. Obviously, again, in finance and economics, there are only two fundamental truths. And I want people to look this up, say, okay, Greg might be lying. In economics and finance, number one, to have a strong nation, you need a strong currency. Number two, to have a strong currency, you need a corresponding rate of interest high enough to support the purchasing power of the currency. So when you hear a sitting president say, we need a weaker dollar, we not talking to you. We need low rates, we not talking to you. You have to realize that we're being destroyed from within. The man should be taken out of office today. The American people should march again on the White House this time. There's no business being here except for the we.
It is interesting. I think like 5 years ago and before, I think there were people who kind of were just going along with the system. But after COVID, when we saw this really lockstep government control over everything, almost a world government control over everything, because so many governments were doing the exact same thing. And we saw the middle class getting hurt. We saw small companies going out of business. That consolidation, as you mentioned, small companies into larger companies, the big Walmarts, the big grocery stores were still open, but the small mom and pop shops had to close down, right? I think it's woken up a lot of people to what is happening at the moment. And I think there is hope. Whether this is happening by design or not, people are pushing back against more government control over their lives. So I think there is a lot of hope that we're seeing out there. And just as you talk to your neighbors and everything, a lot of these same sentiments are being echoed. So I don't know, your thoughts on that. Maybe where you are in Florida is a very freedom-oriented state. What is your experience experience just talking to your neighbors in your community with respect to these topics? Does it seem like people are getting it more now than before?
No, not where I live. And I live in an upscale neighborhood here. These people have no idea what's going on. In fact, none of my immediate neighbors have any idea of what's happening and or why. They really do believe that they look at the stock market, maybe they look at their 401ks and they see it going higher, their investment plans, and they feel like it's okay. Meanwhile, they don't look at the real economy. You see, people that are not living let's say, as a true middle class person, they're detached from reality. They don't understand what's happening to the economy itself because they put themselves in a spot where they don't care. Me personally, I care. I care a lot. I don't like seeing what I'm seeing happen to people. Here, I can tell you that homelessness is exploding virtually all around my neighborhood here. Probably every third or fourth corner, there's a person standing out there with a sign. We'll take anything here. So no, we're watching it come apart, and it's unfortunate when people get comfortable, they don't take any action. So don't expect action to be taken by people, let's say, that are in the upper middle class or above. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to rock the boat. Everything's okay for them. And then in some ways they benefit from the currency devaluation. Again, the cancel-on effect, those closest to the money get it first before it trickles down to the real middle class here, before it gets drained of purchasing power. That's the cancel-on effect. That's why President Trump is calling we need a weaker dollar. The weaker dollar allows those closest to the money to get it first. They spend it while it has purchasing power. Then as it trickles down to the economy, the money velocity, which is at historic lows, it takes a while. And then by that time, the currency gets to, let's say, the end user, the middle class here, because the people at the lower rung, they're done anyway, and most of them are using some kind of government assistance. The end user gets sucked dry. So if people are expecting any people from the, let's say, the upper middle class or above to do a damn thing, they're surely mistaken. They are getting exactly what they want here, but it's the middle class that needs to decide where they want to be. The middle class maybe still has a choice, but they need to move, and they need to move now. I don't care if they're wearing the red chain or the blue chain. Take off the chain, start speaking out, start taking action. Otherwise, I explained to people from years ago that what was going to happen is prior members of the middle class were going to be pushed down into the lower rung. This means they're very controllable. What they're doing here, and what's been in effect for years, is creating dependency on the system. The more people that are dependent on it, the more subservient they are to it, and they're willing to take anything for it. So these are the people here that really need to start thinking, what do you want to do? Do you literally want to be pushed down to the lower rung of society? Are you going to allow the system to erase you? Do you like the 1% and 2%ers that much that you feel like your labor, your hopes and your dreams are worth sacrificing to them, to the overlords? Because that's what we're seeing here. A neo-feudal system, which I can't tell you how many years I've been warning about. And we are here now. And it's only going to get worse. The pressure on the middle class will increase from here. Again, weaker dollar will cause the middle class to suffer more. Supply chain disruptions, we're going to see more of that moving forward as well on the back of these tariffs, which were supposed to make us all rich and going to pay off the debt as well, just like we were sold that lie last time during President Trump's tenure. It didn't work. As a matter of fact, our debt ballooned faster and higher than any president before in history. President Trump chopping up the United States, selling it off in tranches at $5 million a pop to the richest bidders. You think that was supposed to also help pay down the debt? How's that working out for everybody? But people didn't push back, so it happened. Again, it's about free will. Their book, which is, I guess, the Satan handbook, if you want to call it that, dictates that they have to tell you what they're going to do first. If they don't get pushed back, they take that as consent. Okay, they're not pushing back. We can do what we want. Think of again, I'm a stable genius, stablecoin, Genius Act, stablecoin token. If people can't see, really, they're willfully blind because it's all in the book. Everything is in the book. So read the book. I think you and I know what book I'm talking about. It'll tell you where we're going. There's no doubt about it. People dismiss it. Good. Let's see how it works out for them.
And I guess last question here, how close do you think we are to, I know Rafi Farber talks about like the end game, right? And he's talked about how this last money printing cycle is, in his view, probably going to be the last one before the end game, where we see, the destruction of the currency and whatnot. What is your view on kind of where we are, and how much time do we have before what, a lot of people have called the end game?
Most people are out of time already. Again, people can't find jobs. They're being dissolved from the inside. So the end game, we're here. But they're not done. They're not done. When are we going to know they're done? There's no guesswork here. People can sit and speculate all they want about, and this kind of, I really don't like that kind of like, well, this, that, and the other thing. The signal is going to be from the debt market. The debt market is a monster. And what are they doing here? They're continuing to keep rates suppressed here. The Fed buying it. The Treasury now buying back their own debt with the main line to the Fed. This should tell everyone we're in the end game. But now we can get a glimpse a little further, realizing what I think we all knew would eventually happen, the merger of corporate power and the government as they set everything up. The pieces are all out there. They're just kind of coming together. The moment of reckoning is going to be when the 1 and 2%ers flee. The 1 and 2%ers from the market. Who owns 90% of the stock market? It's the 1 and 2%ers. The rest of us own 10%. All right. So we, by just understanding that the debt market is the key, everything derives value from the debt market, the bond market, the 10-year yield being the benchmark here. So if we know what they're going to do, again, President Trump talking to the 1 and 2%ers, we're going to keep rates suppressed for as far as the eye can see. We're going to devalue the currency even more, fostering the greatest wealth transfer the world has ever seen. We're going to vastly inflate the debt as well, which is massively currency purchasing power negative. The attack on the dollar right now is a direct attack on the nation. You can't have a strong nation if you don't have a strong currency. This seems to elude, this fact, this truth seems to elude the people because they've been literally spiritually dispossessed. I really think that's the case. So look, man, we could sit here and talk about when this, when that, how much time we got. We got as much time as they're going to allow us to have. And we're going to see an eventual bursting of the largest bubble the world has ever seen. And that is the hyperbubble in debt, which is a monster engulfing the entire world. The system is eventually going to lock up. That's going to be where they're going to say, okay, we have a solution for you. Problem, reaction, solution. It's always the same. So, look, man, people could talk about this, that, and the other thing, but all I do is watch the debt. The debt market is going to tell us all when the real problem begins. The real anything is going to begin and end in the debt market. People are already being destroyed. For them, for many people that can't survive, small businesses closing here, people borrowing beyond their eyeballs. You got personal debt, household debt, consumer debt skyrocketing, defaults skyrocketing. It's all there. Where's the collapse? It's here now. And it's going to hit people differently, depending on, what they have. People have already burned through their savings, which is all part of the dependency on the system. They lose their job. People can't survive more than a couple of weeks without any income. It's over for these people. So the real grinding to a halt of the system is going to be when they can't borrow anymore. Again, who wants our debt? Nobody. Who wants our dollar? Nobody. You got the Fed fulfilled this. The Fed has fulfilled its goal to be the lender and buyer of last resort. That's the goal of every central bank, to own it all. And now they got the Treasury tag teaming with them. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. During Trump's last tenure, people said, Trump is bankrupting the Fed. Look how much he's spending. No, all he was doing is making the Fed stronger. Every dollar a central bank is called on to issue or weaken. How does the Fed weaken the dollar? How does the Fed lower rates? Could they just snap their fingers and it happens? No. They have to create the currency out of nothing on a digital screen and buy all the debt. By creating the currency, it devalues every other existing dollar that already exists. So it makes the Fed stronger. The debt is the product. And the more of the product that the central bank here issues, the stronger, exponentially stronger they become. So President Trump, look, man, I have no dog in this fight here. I am neither a Republican nor a Democrat. The only person I serve, the only entity I serve is God the Father, the creator of all things. Okay, I am truth, period, the end. So with that said, I don't care, but I'm going to tell people straight out. No president has done it more to empower the Federal Reserve. And this game that they're playing on the American people now is a charade than President Trump, calling for low rates. During his first tenure, you remember, he wanted negative rates. You would have to pay the bank to keep your cash in there. How would that work out for the middle class? Real well? No, sure, it wouldn't. But it would work out real great for the central banks, wouldn't it? And the 1% and 2%ers. Let me tell you something. Those that actually run the Federal Reserve are jumping for joy because their guy is now sitting behind the Resolute desk. Our votes didn't matter. Our votes haven't mattered in a very, very long time. This system has completely been taken over. And if voting really counted, we wouldn't be allowed to vote, bro.
If our viewers are interested in learning more, they can go to traderchoice.net. They can also search Gregory Mannarino, and they'll find your YouTube channel and Twitter. Greg, we just really appreciate you spending this time with our viewers. Any last thoughts before we let you go?
Speak out, people. If you got anything out of this video, it should be that you need to start speaking out, especially if you're a member of the middle class. You're at a crossroads. Either you let yourself free fall, or you take action, you go down fighting. Maybe, if you fight hard enough, you'll get what you want.
Fantastic. Well, Greg, once again, thank you so much for your time today, and God bless.
You too.
This is Kaiser Johnson with Liberty and Finance, and these are the Miles Franklin Weekly Specials for August 25th through September 1st, 2025, while supplies last. First this week, 1 ounce gold Britannia are just $60 over spot per ounce. Next, 1/10 ounce gold Canadian maples are only $35 over melt per coin. 1 ounce silver maples are just $2.89 over spot. And 1 ounce silver kangaroos are only $2.79 over spot per ounce. And with a 250 ounce monster box, they're the lowest priced monster box available. To order our specials or any of the many other options we have available, call us at 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237. We're available after hours and on weekends, and we look forward to speaking with you.